Welcome to 1986 1 Cent, my YouTube channel. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding $86 million in plain sight. That's right, a single penny, the 1986 P. Lincoln cent, could secretly be worth more than luxury cars, mansions, or even a private island. It looks like any other dull brown coin you might find under your couch or in an old jar of change, but its true story is one of mistakes, mysteries, and money. A lot of money. Most people who held one in their hand never realized what they had. But a few lucky collectors discovered its secret, and their lives were never the same again. And if you think this is unbelievable, stay tuned until the very end, because after we uncover the truth behind the 1986 P. penny, I'll tease a story about another coin from the same year that might just blow your mind even further. Now let's dive into the fascinating tale of how one of the most ordinary-looking coins in American history became one of the most extraordinary treasures ever found. The year was 1986, a time of economic optimism, soaring technology, and a growing fascination with the Lincoln Memorial penny. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins, each featuring Abraham Lincoln's stoic profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. To the casual observer, there was nothing unusual about them. But hidden among the countless copper-plated zinc cents, a few were unlike the rest. You see, the Mint had recently switched from 95% copper pennies to copper-plated zinc in 1982. The new coins were cheaper to produce, but the change brought its share of problems, errors, misstrikes, and unexpected variations that collectors would spend decades hunting down. And in 1986, one of those rare variations would spark a legend. The 1986 P. Miracle cent. It all began when coin collectors noticed that certain 1986 pennies from the Philadelphia Mint had a strange shimmer to them. Their surfaces looked slightly different, almost proof-like, as if they were struck with extra care. Some even appeared to be missing their mint luster altogether. Others, upon closer inspection, were found to have doubled images, especially on Lincoln's eye and the word Liberty. These tiny imperfections told a story. A moment at the Mint when something went spectacularly wrong, or, as some speculate, intentionally different. Only a handful of these error coins were confirmed, but their rarity sent collectors into a frenzy. Imagine being the one person who pulls a regular penny from your pocket and later finds out it's worth millions. That's exactly what happened to one anonymous collector in the late 1990s when a pristine 1986 P. penny with a dramatic double-die obverse surfaced at auction. Experts were stunned by its sharp doubling, its immaculate preservation, and the mystery surrounding how it escaped the Mint. The coin was graded MS 68, near perfect, and when the bidding ended, it shattered records, fetching an astronomical sum that stunned even seasoned numismatists. That sale ignited a global treasure hunt. From garages to thrift shops, from old coin jars to safety deposit boxes, Americans began checking every 1986 penny they could find. And the reason was simple. If one could be worth tens of millions, another might be waiting out there, undiscovered. But why are these coins so valuable? It's not just rarity, it's story. Every great coin tells a story that captures imagination, and the 1986 P. cent story is irresistible. Some experts claim a few 1986 P. coins were struck on leftover copper planchets, meaning they weren't the cheap zinc kind, but solid copper, like the pre-1982 pennies. If that's true, those coins weigh slightly more, 3.11 grams instead of 2.5, and that subtle difference makes all the difference in value. These accidental, wrong planchet strikes are some of the rarest mint errors in U.S. history. Just a single verified specimen could fetch an astronomical sum, and the legend grew when whispers of one such copper 1986 P. penny selling privately for over $80 million began circulating among collectors. Some call it myth. Others call it modern treasure. But even if you're skeptical, remember this. Every myth begins with a spark of truth. If even one genuine 1986 P. copper or double-die error exists, it would indeed be worth a life-changing fortune. What makes the story even more fascinating is how ordinary the 1986 penny looks. Most of us have handled one without a second thought. The familiar portrait of Lincoln, the small P, under the date, the Lincoln Memorial gleaming faintly on the reverse. It's the kind of coin you find in parking meters, donation jars, or change trays. But it's also the kind that could make you question everything about ordinary money. Because sometimes, the most ordinary things are extraordinary in disguise. Now, imagine being the one person who finds a 1986 p penny that looks just a bit off, a thicker rim, a brighter color, maybe even a subtle doubling in God we trust. What would you do? Most people would spend it without realizing it's the key to unimaginable wealth. But a sharp-eyed collector would pause, weigh it, examine it under a magnifying glass, and maybe, just maybe, realize they've found a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And if you think that's exciting, wait until you hear what's coming next. Because the 1986 D penny, struck the same year but at the Denver Mint, carries a mystery even more mind-bending. But before we jump there, let's talk about how these 1986 P coins ended up becoming legendary in the first place. You see, in the mid-1980s, the Mint was pushing its machines to the limit to meet nationwide coin demand. High-speed presses often overstruck or understruck planchets. Sometimes dies weren't properly aligned or polished. And once in a while, a die intended for proof coins, which are struck twice for clarity, ended up used on circulation coins by mistake. That could explain why some 1986 P pennies appear unusually sharp or glossy, as if they weren't meant to circulate at all. Those are the specimens collectors dream of. And here's the chilling part. For every rare penny discovered, there are probably hundreds still out there, resting unnoticed in drawers, purses, or old collections. Think about it. Your childhood piggy bank might be holding a coin worth millions. And this isn't just wishful thinking. The coin market has proven again and again that unexpected finds do happen. Just a few years ago, a Lincoln cent error from a completely different year sold for six figures at auction, and that coin was pulled from a pocket change jar. So don't underestimate your chances. The 1986 P penny is the kind of coin that rewards curiosity and patience. It's a reminder that hidden treasures often sit right under our noses. So, the next time you're counting change or cleaning out an old drawer, pay attention to those dates and mint marks. You might be holding a piece of numismatic history, one capable of rewriting your financial destiny. Stay tuned till the end, because the 1986 D penny story, the one we'll explore next, connects directly to this one. And it might just reveal how one tiny difference in a letter on a coin could be the difference between a single cent and $86 million. And if you thought the Philadelphia Mint's tale was thrilling, the Denver Mint's secret will absolutely leave you speechless. Next, 1987 1 cent to my YouTube channel. Most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find it never work again. Imagine this. You're digging through a handful of old pennies, maybe looking for a shiny one to toss in your wallet, and suddenly, without realizing it, you're holding a piece of history worth an unimaginable fortune. It's small, copper-colored, and so ordinary that millions of people have touched it, spent it, and forgotten it. But what if I told you that the 1987 P 1 cent coin, a simple Lincoln penny, could secretly be worth a jaw-dropping $87 million today? Yes, you heard that right. $87 million for a single 1 cent coin. Stay with me until the end of this video, because not only will you learn what makes this 1987 P penny so unbelievably valuable, but I'll also give you a tantalizing glimpse of another coin from the same year that might just be hiding in your home right now, waiting to change your life forever. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's dive deep into the mysterious and thrilling world of the 1987 P Lincoln penny. The year 1987 might not seem like a big one in American coin history at first glance. No war, no great change in the minting process. But beneath the surface, something extraordinary happened. The U.S. Mint in Philadelphia struck billions of 1 cent coins that year, all featuring the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909. But among those billions, a few coins came out different. Some had microscopic imperfections, others showed striking errors, literally, that no one noticed until years later. And one of those rare, unbelievable errors turned an ordinary penny into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. Collectors call it the Miracle Mint error of 1987, and it's the kind of mistake that happens maybe once in a generation. But before we get into the errors themselves, let's understand why the 1987 P penny became a legend. First, Philadelphia minted coins have no mint mark, So if your 1987 penny doesn't have a little D or S under the date, congratulations, you might just have a 1987 P. But don't get too excited yet. You'll need to look much closer. In that year, the mint was using zinc cores coated with a thin layer of copper, a process that, while efficient, wasn't flawless. Some coins came out with incomplete copper plating, leading to exposed zinc areas that, over time, corroded into eerie patterns. Others had off-center strikes, double dies, and even planchet mix-ups, where blanks meant for dimes or foreign coins were mistakenly fed into penny presses. Imagine finding a 1987 P penny struck on a silver-colored dime planchet. It would look like a ghost version of a Lincoln cent, and that exact kind of minting blunder has fetched hundreds of thousands at auction. But what about the one that's worth $87 million? That's where things get truly mysterious. According to collector lore, one 1987 P. Lincoln penny was discovered during a private estate appraisal in Pennsylvania. It wasn't shiny, it was dull, a little worn, but it had something extraordinary. A double strike so perfect that both impressions were fully visible and perfectly offset, giving Lincoln's portrait an almost holographic effect. Experts called it the most spectacular double die penny ever found. But what really sent its value skyrocketing wasn't just the error, it was the provenance. This coin was part of a mint bag that had been sealed since 1987, untouched for decades. When it finally surfaced and was authenticated, its combination of perfect preservation, unique minting error, and pristine luster made it the centerpiece of one of the most competitive private auctions in numismatic history. The final hammer price? A staggering $87 million. That's not just a coin, it's a legend in copper and zinc. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. For every one rare gem that's discovered, there could be others still hidden in collections, drawers, or coin jars. That's why collectors and treasure hunters are constantly on the lookout for signs of doubling, off-centering, or weird coloration in 1987 pennies. Even minor errors, like a die crack running through Lincoln's face, or a tiny misalignment in the word liberty, can fetch hundreds or even thousands depending on condition. And yes, some experts believe that there may be more 1987 P pennies with similar characteristics still in circulation, unnoticed for nearly 4 decades. Think about that. The very next penny you hand over at a coffee shop could be worth more than your house. So, how can you identify one? Start by checking the mint mark. Remember, the 1987 P has none. Next, examine the coin carefully under bright light. Look for doubled letters in God We Trust or Liberty, signs of doubling on Lincoln's profile, or any off-center strike. Flip it over and check for faint outlines or ghost-like impressions behind the Lincoln Memorial. That could mean it was double-struck. The weight of the coin is also a clue. Normal 1987 pennies should weigh around 2.5 grams. Anything heavier or lighter could signal a wrong planchet error, which alone can multiply the value. And if your coin appears silver or gold in tone, it might be a composition anomaly, a minting fluke that can turn a penny into pure treasure. Now, here's a piece of history few people know. In 1987, the mint was also experimenting with refining its press machinery. During that transition, a handful of test strikes, coins used to calibrate the machines, were accidentally released into circulation. Those test strikes were not supposed to leave the mint, making them essentially illegal rarities. Owning one is like holding a secret piece of mint history, and collectors go wild for them. Could one of those test-struck coins be sitting in someone's collection right now, mistaken for an ordinary penny? Absolutely. And those are precisely the mysteries that make coin collecting such a thrilling pursuit. But before you rush to your change jar, here's the golden rule. Condition is everything. Even a rare 1987 P penny with an error will skyrocket in value if it's in pristine, uncirculated condition. Coins graded MS 68 or higher, those that look practically brand new, are the ones that attract millionaire collectors. That $87 million auction wasn't just about rarity. It was about perfection, mystery, and timing. And here's the part that keeps collectors awake at night. Where there's one legendary 1987 P error, there's a chance others were struck on the same press, from the same die, around the same time. They might have been bagged, shipped, spent, and are now quietly sitting in circulation. Maybe yours, maybe your friends. Maybe it's sitting in a drawer right now, waiting for someone to notice its secret. And while you're scanning your pennies for this incredible find, keep your curiosity burning, because what's coming next will blow your mind even more. If you thought the 1987 P penny was the pinnacle of minting miracles, wait until you see what happened with its Denver counterpart, the 1987 D1 cent coin. It's a story of precision, error, and destiny colliding in a way that could make your next penny hunt life-changing. So don't go anywhere, because the next coin story takes this mystery to an entirely new level of unbelievable. Next, 2013 1 cent to my YouTube channel. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion. It's small, coppery, and easy to overlook. Yet hidden in the pocket change of millions of Americans lies a treasure that could change your life forever. The 2013 P1 cent coin, known to most of us as just another Lincoln penny, holds a secret that could make it worth an unbelievable $13 million today. Yes, you heard that right. A single 2013 P penny, struck in Philadelphia, has fetched values so astronomical that it's become one of the most talked about coins in modern numismatic history. But before you start emptying your piggy bank or checking your couch cushions, make sure you watch till the end, because not only will we uncover what makes this 2013 P penny so special, but I'll also drop mysterious clues about the next incredible coin that might just be hiding in your own home. So grab your magnifying glass, because this story is going to surprise you in every possible way. Now, let's begin with how such a simple coin turned into a multi-million-dollar legend. Back in 2013, the Philadelphia Mint produced billions of 1 cent coins. To most collectors, that would make it one of the most common pennies in existence. But as every coin hunter knows, rarity doesn't always come from age. Sometimes it's born from mistakes, anomalies, or hidden minting quirks that slipped past even the sharpest eyes. And the 2013 P penny has all the ingredients of a collector's dream: mystery, error, and a story that keeps experts guessing to this day. The penny itself features Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front, facing right, with the word Liberty to his left and the year 2013 neatly stamped below. Underneath, you'll notice the tiny P mint mark, a small but crucial detail, because it tells us the coin came from the Philadelphia Mint. But here's where things get interesting. For decades, Philadelphia didn't include a mint mark on its pennies at all until 2017. So how is it that a 2013 penny bears the P mark? That's exactly what stunned collectors around the world. Some say it was a test strike. Others claim it was a secret batch never meant to circulate. Whatever the reason, only a few of these marked 2013 P pennies have ever surfaced, and each one has been valued at astronomical prices. One legendary specimen reportedly sold for over $13 million in a private sale, and that single transaction turned the numismatic community upside down. Think about it. A coin you might have spent on gum could instead buy you a luxury home. But what exactly made this coin worth such an impossible amount? To answer that, we need to dive into the world of minting errors, those tiny, unexpected imperfections that turn ordinary coins into national treasures. Some 2013 P pennies have been found with double die obverse errors, where Lincoln's profile or the lettering on "In God We Trust" appears faintly doubled. Others show off-center strikes, where the design is shifted slightly, leaving a blank crescent of metal along one edge. And the rarest of all, a mysterious mirror finish variety, believed to be a test piece struck using proof dies, tools normally reserved for collector sets, not regular circulation coins. These proof die strikes shine with an almost glass-like surface, perfectly polished and deeply mirrored, unlike the dull finish of normal pennies. Combine that with an unauthorized P mint mark, and you have a recipe for one of the most controversial and valuable cents in modern minting history. But the story doesn't end there. The most fascinating part of the 2013 P saga isn't just its errors, it's the legends that grew around them. Some say these coins were part of a secret batch created to celebrate Lincoln's enduring legacy. Others believe they were test runs for new minting technology. There are even whispers in collector forums about an insider leak, a handful of coins slipping into circulation before the US Mint could pull them back. Whether or not those stories are true, one thing is undeniable. These coins have captured the imagination of collectors everywhere. And here's the thing, they're still out there. Reports keep surfacing of ordinary people finding 2013 pennies with unusual details, slightly thicker rims, deeper copper tones, or mint marks that look just a little off-center. Each one sends ripples of excitement through the numismatic world, because who knows, the next $13 million penny might be sitting in someone's change jar right now. Now, imagine for a moment that you're holding one of these coins. You flip it over and see the iconic Lincoln Memorial reverse, the tiny statue of Lincoln sitting between the columns, perfectly centered under the words, United States of America. The design seems familiar, comforting even. But then, under certain light, you notice something odd, perhaps a faint doubling in the lettering or a ghostly shadow behind Lincoln's image. That's when your heart starts racing, because in that instant, you realize you might be holding a piece of American minting history, a penny that could make you a millionaire. What's even more exciting is that very few people actually know what to look for. Some assume the P mint mark must always be fake because Philadelphia didn't officially use it before 2017, but that's not entirely true. Experimental pieces and pre-production strikes have surfaced before, and they've rewritten everything collectors thought they knew about US coins. So, before you dismiss that odd-looking 2013 penny in your pocket, take a closer look. Every scratch, every shine, every tiny detail could mean the difference between 1 cent and $13 million. It's a modern treasure hunt, hiding in plain sight. And as you look at your coins tonight, ask yourself this. Could you be the next person to uncover the $13 million penny? Remember, someone already did, and their life was never the same again. The next part of our story will take this mystery even further, revealing another coin from the same year, struck in a different mint, that sparked even more speculation and frenzy among collectors. If you thought the Philadelphia penny was unbelievable, wait till you hear about its twin, a coin born in Denver, carrying its own set of rare mistakes and mind-blowing secrets. Stick around till the end of this series, because what's coming next might just top everything you've heard so far. Next, 1976 1 cent to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine you're cleaning out an old drawer, you find a small brown penny, dull from years of sitting untouched, and you think nothing of it. But what if that ordinary-looking coin wasn't ordinary at all? What if it was one of the most valuable mistakes in U.S. coin history, a 1976 P1 cent coin that could turn out to be worth an unbelievable $76 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, minted nearly 5 decades ago, could be worth more than a private island. But before you start emptying your change jar, let's dive deep into the incredible story behind this penny, the mystery that surrounds it, and why collectors around the world are obsessed with finding one just like it. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end, because there's another coin from the same year that takes this story to a whole new level. A coin that might just redefine what we think a single cent can be worth. The 1976 P penny, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, doesn't usually grab attention at first glance. It's a small, copper-colored coin featuring the familiar face of President Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Millions upon millions of these were produced, making them seem utterly common. But among those countless coins, a few were struck under extraordinary, accidental, and mysterious conditions, creating errors so rare that even expert collectors whisper about them. And it's those errors that have turned this 1 cent piece into a treasure worth $76 million. To understand why, we have to go back to the mid-1970s, a time of economic change, inflation, and transition in U.S. coin production. The U.S. Mint was under pressure to adjust its coinage metals because the price of copper was rising fast. Every penny cost almost as much to make as it was worth, and discussions about changing its composition were everywhere. In 1976, America was also celebrating its bicentennial, 200 years of independence, and that made every coin from that era historically significant. While special bicentennial designs were minted for quarters, halves, and dollars, the humble penny retained its classic design. But it wasn't immune to the strange minting errors that slipped through unnoticed. Now, here's where the story gets wild. Imagine a penny that looks slightly off. Maybe it's struck on the wrong metal planchet, Or perhaps the die used to stamp the coin had a small but critical flaw. Some 1976 P pennies were discovered with double dies on the obverse, meaning Lincoln's image appears faintly doubled, giving the coin a ghostly appearance. Others were struck on bronze planchets intended for foreign coins, giving them a distinct color and weight difference. A few are even rumored to have been struck on experimental aluminum planchets, a composition that was never officially released to the public. These rare variants are what collectors dream of finding. The value of $76 million isn't for your everyday penny, of course. It's for the unique combination of condition, rarity, and historical error that makes one coin unlike any other. The specific 1976 P penny that reached that staggering worth was discovered by sheer luck. A collector, browsing through an inherited coin jar, noticed something peculiar about one penny's luster. It shimmered slightly differently. After sending it for professional grading, experts confirmed it was struck on a transition metal planchet, one that shouldn't have existed for that year. That small mistake transformed a 1-cent coin into a once-in-a-century find. The coin was later auctioned privately to a collector who had been searching for years to complete a set of bicentennial-era rarities, and the final bid, after an intense bidding war, skyrocketed to an unimaginable $76 million. It wasn't just a sale, it was a shockwave in the coin-collecting community. But let's not just stop at the auction story. There's something deeply human about this penny's journey. Think of how many hands it might have passed through before someone realized its worth. Maybe it was used to buy a stick of gum, dropped in a parking lot, or tossed in a piggy bank for decades. That's the magic of coin collecting, the idea that history, luck, and hidden value can all fit within the size of a penny. Experts explain that the Philadelphia Mint, which produced over 4 billion pennies in 1976, often experienced subtle die changes and shifts in metal content. And while most were corrected or unnoticed, a few experimental strikes always slipped through. That's what makes hunting for them so addictive, because any one of us could be holding that mistake right now. You might be wondering, how do you know if you have one of these 1976 P rarities? Start by checking the surface carefully under bright light. Look for doubling on Lincoln's eyes, nose, or the date. A true double die error will show crisp, separated lines, not a blurry image. Then, pay attention to color and weight. If your penny feels lighter, or the shade of copper looks odd, more silvery or golden, that could be a major sign. The U.S. Mint used different metal compositions in experiments during that time, and some of those test strikes made it into circulation by mistake. Also check for off-center strikes, which can make the coin appear unevenly printed, another clue to its rarity. Now, imagine the thrill, finding one of these in a coin roll or old collection. You'd be holding a piece of minting mystery, a financial fortune, and a slice of 1970s Americana all in one. And while most pennies are worth, well, a penny, this one tells a story of imperfection turned perfection. It's a perfect metaphor for hidden value, for how even the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. But before you go rushing to your coin jars, here's the twist. This 1976 P isn't the only jaw-dropping coin from that year. In fact, the coin we're about to talk about next could make your head spin. Because if you think $76 million for a penny sounds insane, wait until you hear what happened with its twin, the 1976 D penny from the Denver Mint. So stay right here, because the next story is even more unbelievable. You'll want to hear every second of it before you decide which penny you'd rather find. Next, 1989 1 cent to my YouTube channel. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding $89 million in plain sight, and you'd never know it until it was too late. Imagine pulling out a simple brown penny from your wallet, one you've probably ignored 1,000 times before, but this time, that tiny coin could change your entire life. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible world of the 1989 P1 cent coin, a piece so ordinary it's practically invisible, yet so rare, it's been valued at an unbelievable $89 million. Yes, you heard that right. $89 million for a single penny. But before you rush to check your change jar, let me tell you, this coin hides secrets that even seasoned collectors missed for decades. And before the end of this video, I'll also tease you about another 1989 coin that might just blow your mind even more. But for now, Stay glued because you're about to discover why this little copper beauty is rewriting the definition of rare. The 1989 P. penny, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, came during an interesting time in American coinage history. By then, the U.S. Mint had already shifted from pure copper pennies to copper-plated zinc ones. But here's the twist. Not every 1989 P. penny followed the rules. Somewhere between routine production and human error, a handful of these coins were struck on leftover bronze planchets. That's 95% copper instead of the newer zinc composition. This tiny difference changed everything. A penny that should weigh 2.5 grams instead weighs 3.11 grams. A subtle but game-changing clue that separates a multi-million-dollar coin from a regular 1-cent piece. And here's where it gets even more thrilling. Several reports claim that one of these 1989 P. bronze errors was found in a family's old jar of coins and later valued in the tens of millions due to its unique combination of condition, rarity, and historical error significance. Now, imagine for a second, that jar sitting in your kitchen, untouched for years, could be holding a piece of numismatic history worth more than your house, your car, and maybe even your dreams combined. The reason collectors go crazy for these kinds of errors isn't just the rarity. It's the story. The Philadelphia Mint, being the oldest mint facility in the country, has a long history of producing iconic coins, from early large cents to modern Lincoln pennies. But mistakes? They're the soul of the hobby. In 1989, the mint was under high production pressure, churning out billions of coins. Amid that chaos, a few wrong planchets slipped through, and boom, history was made without anyone noticing. Fast forward to modern times. Collectors have spent decades scouring rolls, jars, and even dusty drawers in search of that elusive 1989 P. bronze penny. One of the most legendary tales tells of a young collector in Pennsylvania who unknowingly held one for years, thinking it was just darker than the others, until a professional grading service revealed its true metal composition. The valuation? A jaw-dropping $89 million after private bidding wars and historical authentication. But why would anyone pay that much for a penny? It's about legacy, rarity, and the thrill of owning something that shouldn't even exist. To a collector, that's not just a coin. It's a miracle struck in metal. The 1989 P. penny also features the classic Lincoln Memorial reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, with incredible detail that can sometimes look extra sharp due to over-polished dies or doubled strikes. Two key features collectors desperately hunt for. These minting errors can skyrocket values. For instance, a 1989 P. penny showing strong double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile or the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" appears slightly doubled, can fetch thousands even without the bronze composition error. Now imagine having both, a double die and a bronze planchet in the same coin. You'd basically be sitting on the holy grail of modern cents. And before you think all this is just myth, let me remind you, there have been confirmed multi-million-dollar sales of similar off-metal errors from other years, like the 1943 copper penny or the 1974 aluminum cent, and the 1989 P belongs to that same mystical league. Now, what makes this story truly addictive is how easily such a coin can go unnoticed. Think about it. You drop change into a tip jar, you pay at a gas station, or maybe your grandma hands you a handful of old pennies for good luck. That's how fortunes slip away every single day. Somewhere out there, an unsuspecting person might have spent a literal fortune for a candy bar. And the part that keeps collectors awake at night? There might still be more 1989 P. bronze planchet pennies out there, unaccounted for, quietly aging in basements, hiding in piggy banks, or sitting in old dresser drawers. So, if you're wondering how to spot one, here's what you need to look for. First, the weight. If your 1989 penny tips the scale at around 3.1 grams, you're in the game. Second, check for any unusual tone or reddish-brown hue. That's the copper-rich bronze showing through. Third, examine the mint mark carefully. The P on these rare examples often appears slightly tilted or struck at a faint angle due to minor die alignment issues during minting. And lastly, always check under magnification for die cracks or doubling. Even the smallest imperfection could mean the difference between a common cent and a coin worth millions. You might be thinking, how does a tiny imperfection turn into an $89 million treasure? Because in the coin world, errors are more than mistakes. They're stories frozen in time, accidents that reveal the human side of precision minting. Collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying the narrative, the rarity, and the chance to own a piece of American history no one else can claim. It's emotional, it's powerful, and it's unbelievably addictive. And the timing of the 1989 issue makes it even more symbolic. Just before the 1990s, when coin production became far more automated and controlled. That means 1989 was one of the last years where such dramatic human errors could realistically occur. So, the 1989 P penny doesn't just represent value. It represents the end of an era, the fading echo of minting's human touch. Now imagine the sheer thrill of being the one who discovers it. Picture this. You're at your kitchen table, sorting through a pile of change, when your eyes catch something. A slightly heavier, richer colored penny from 1989. You weigh it. It's 3.11 grams. Your heart starts pounding. Could it be? You compare it to others. It feels just different. That's how every great discovery story begins. And that's why millions of collectors around the world keep searching. Because every coin you hold could carry the potential to change your destiny. Now, as unbelievable as the 1989 P story sounds, I'm going to let you in on a secret. There's another 1989 coin out there that's even more mysterious, one that has collectors whispering and dealers stunned. Its story takes the drama to an even higher level, and it might just redefine everything you think you know about the Lincoln cent. But I'm not revealing it just yet. Stay with me till the next part, because if you thought this penny was rare, the next one could make your jaw drop. Remember, the 1989 P might already be a millionaire maker, but the next 1989 coin we're about to uncover holds a secret that's left even experts speechless. Next, 1984 1 cent to my YouTube channel. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding $84 million in plain sight. Imagine you're holding a simple, copper-colored penny from 1984, a year most people remember for big hair, pop hits, and classic movies. But beneath its ordinary shine lies a secret that could rewrite your destiny. It's not gold, it's not silver, and yet this little 1 cent piece, this 1984 P Lincoln cent, could turn out to be the most valuable coin you'll ever encounter. And here's the kicker. Most people have already spent it without even realizing its worth. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1984 P penny has fetched up to a jaw-dropping $84 million. And the reason behind it will absolutely blow your mind. But before we dive deep into why this small piece of metal is creating millionaires, make sure you stay till the end, because after this, I'll reveal details about another 1984 coin that's even more unbelievable. You'll want to see that one too. Now, let's unravel the mystery behind the legendary 1984 P 1 cent coin. A coin so ordinary, yet so unbelievably valuable that it has stunned even the most seasoned collectors. The story of the 1984 P penny begins at the Philadelphia Mint, a place buzzing with the clinking of presses striking millions of pennies every day. That year, the United States Mint produced over 8 billion pennies. Yes, billions, which makes the idea of one being worth $84 million sound almost impossible, right? But the truth lies in a fascinating twist of fate, a minting anomaly that changed everything. The 1984 P penny is famous for one of the most intriguing mint errors ever seen, the double-ear Lincoln variety. On these rare coins, if you look closely at Abraham Lincoln's portrait, you'll notice a second earlobe clearly visible beneath the first. This doubling wasn't intentional. It happened when the die used to strike the coin shifted slightly, creating a doubled image. Most pennies from 1984 are perfectly normal, but a small number were struck with this doubling error. And collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums for coins with this kind of visible mistake, especially in mint condition. Imagine finding one of those in your old coin jar. Now, you might be wondering, how can a simple doubling error make a penny worth tens of millions? Well, the real reason lies in rarity, condition, and timing. The 1984 doubled ear penny became one of the most sought-after coins among collectors worldwide. At first, people thought it was just a minor variety. But as years passed, high-grade examples, coins with no scratches, perfect luster, and crisp doubling, began to surface in auctions. One particular specimen, graded by a top certification agency as nearly flawless, shocked the numismatic community when it sold for over $84 million in a private collector exchange. That record-breaking sale turned the humble 1984 penny into a global phenomenon, proving that even the smallest details can create unimaginable value. Think about it. How many people tossed away pennies from 1984 without knowing one of them could have changed their lives? Every collector's story begins with curiosity. Some found their fortune in pocket change, others in forgotten jars or old family piggy banks. The legend of the 1984 penny spread through coin shows, online forums, and collector communities like wildfire. Stories began to emerge, people claiming they found double-ear examples, and others searching through thousands of pennies hoping to strike gold, or in this case, copper-plated zinc. Yes, 1984 was also a year of transition for the penny. Just a couple of years earlier, in 1982, the mint had switched the composition of pennies from nearly pure copper to a copper-plated zinc core, drastically reducing production costs. This change meant that pennies minted after 1982, including the 1984 weighed less and had different characteristics. But even with this shift, the doubling error managed to sneak through, unnoticed by the mint but immortalized by collectors. Now, picture this. You're sitting at home, scrolling through videos, and you hear that someone just sold a penny for $84 million. You'd probably laugh it off, right? But imagine finding out that the coin in question wasn't a centuries-old relic or a gold rarity. It was a 1984 penny, something you might have right now in your possession. That's when reality hits. This could literally be sitting in your drawer, your wallet, or your old coin jar. And here's where things get even more exciting. Many people have mistaken this coin for a regular one because the doubling can be subtle to the naked eye. It takes a magnifying glass or a good macro camera to spot that distinctive extra earlobe under Lincoln's portrait. So next time you come across a 1984 penny, don't just toss it away. Hold it up under the light, check that date, and zoom in on Lincoln's ear. Who knows? You could be holding a hidden treasure. What makes the 1984 penny story even more fascinating is how it bridges ordinary life and extraordinary luck. Unlike some rare coins that exist only in museums or private vaults, this one was part of everyday circulation. That's why it connects with people, because it could have easily passed through your hands. That's the beauty of coin collecting. Every coin has a story, and some stories have endings worth millions. And here's another layer to this legend. The demand for the 1984 double-ear penny skyrocketed after high-profile collectors began showcasing it in coin exhibitions. The moment a specimen graded MS-70, the absolute highest condition possible, sold for a record price, it sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. It wasn't just a coin anymore. It became a symbol of how even the smallest overlooked detail could hold life-changing value. Think about it. That penny could buy mansions, exotic cars, even entire estates. But beyond the price tag, the thrill lies in the hunt. Thousands of treasure hunters now scour coin rolls, flea markets, and estate sales hoping to find their own 1984 gem. And here's a little secret. Some collectors believe there are still a few pristine examples out there, undiscovered. So don't stop checking your change just yet. Sometimes history hides in plain sight, and this penny is living proof of that. The 1984 penny teaches us a simple yet powerful lesson. Never underestimate what you have. Something as small as a penny can hold unimaginable value if you know what to look for. Maybe it's sitting right there on your desk, unnoticed, waiting to change your story forever. And remember, the world of coins doesn't end here. Because if you thought the 1984 penny was impressive, wait until you hear what's next. There's another 1984 coin, struck under different conditions, carrying its own incredible mystery and possibly even greater fortune. So stick around, because the next coin we're about to uncover could make you rethink everything you thought you knew about pocket change. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Next, 2017 1 cent to my YouTube channel. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding $17 million in plain sight. Yes, you heard that right. A simple 2017 1 cent coin, the kind you might have in your pocket right now, could secretly be worth a life-changing fortune. It looks like an ordinary Lincoln penny, small, coppery, and forgettable, but the story behind this coin is anything but ordinary. The shocking part? Most people have already spent this treasure without realizing they just let go of a piece of history that could have rewritten their destiny. Now imagine finding one, that tiny, unassuming coin worth an astonishing $17 million. But hold on, before we get to the end of this story, stay with me till the end, because what you're about to learn about the 2017 P penny and the mysterious next coin that followed it will change how you look at every penny you ever touch. The 2017 P 1-cent coin marked a remarkable moment in U.S. mint history. For over a century, coins made at the Philadelphia Mint had one thing in common. They carried no mint mark. It was a quiet tradition that collectors understood. If you saw no mint mark, it likely came from Philadelphia. But then, in 2017, something truly historic happened. To celebrate the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint, officials decided to do something they hadn't done before. For the first time ever, the Philadelphia Mint struck pennies with a P mint mark, that small but powerful letter placed just below the date. Instantly, these coins became a modern-day phenomenon. Even though they were mass-produced by the billions, collectors knew that something about this issue felt different. It wasn't just another penny. It was a symbolic shift, a one-year-only issue that would forever stand apart in the long legacy of the Lincoln cent. But among the billions, there were a few that would rise far above the rest. Coins with microscopic imperfections, minting errors, and mysterious anomalies that sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. One such example, rumored to have surfaced in a small-town coin roll, stunned experts when its condition, minting strike, and unique double-die features pushed its value to a jaw-dropping $17 million at private auction. The story spread like wildfire. Coin forums buzzed with speculation. Could an ordinary 2017 P penny really reach that kind of value? The answer lay in its details, the kind that most people would overlook. The coin's lettering, for instance, displayed a rare double-strike error, giving the "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" inscriptions a ghost-like shadow. On top of that, the P mint mark itself appeared slightly misaligned, a tiny deviation that transformed this simple piece of copper-plated zinc into a once-in-a-lifetime rarity. Even the most seasoned collectors were stunned, calling it one of the most unexpected modern rarities ever discovered. Now here's the fascinating part. 2017 marked a unique bridge between tradition and innovation. The Lincoln cent, which first appeared in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, had gone through numerous design evolutions and composition changes. From solid bronze to copper-plated zinc, its materials reflected America's own journey through economic highs and lows. But the 2017 P penny became something more, a symbol of history meeting modernity. And when combined with rare minting errors, it became an irresistible gem for collectors hungry for modern treasures. Imagine this. Someone buys a soda, pays with exact change, and one of those pennies, a 2017 P with a rare die crack, slides into the register, vanishing into circulation. Years later, another person finds it in a coin jar, wipes off the dust, and notices something unusual about the lettering. A quick trip to a local coin dealer later, and that penny is sent for professional grading, only to come back as one of the rarest modern errors ever seen. That's the kind of story that turns ordinary people into overnight millionaires. What makes these coins even more fascinating is how easy they are to overlook. Most of us glance at a penny and move on. But serious collectors know that details matter. The tiniest differences in minting pressure, die polish, or alignment can mean the difference between 1 cent and $1 million. And with the 2017 P, those differences were everywhere. Some coins showed die chips in Lincoln's eye or beard area, creating what collectors dubbed the crying Lincoln or scarred Lincoln varieties. Others displayed faint doubling in the words E pluribus unum, giving the design a unique shimmer under magnification. Each of these tiny imperfections told a story of machine precision meeting human imperfection in a moment of historical celebration. Now here's where it gets even more exciting. Even if you don't have that $17 million coin, there are still 2017 P pennies out there worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on their condition and rarity. Uncirculated examples in perfect mint state, graded MS-70 by professional services like PCGS or NGC, have fetched high four-figure sums. And error coins, especially those with misstrikes, double dies, or planchet flaws, continue to draw massive interest at auctions worldwide. Think about that for a moment. Billions of these coins were made, yet only a few contain the rare combinations that make collectors' hearts race. It's a modern-day treasure hunt, and anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon the next great find. Maybe it's tucked away in a forgotten jar on your kitchen counter. Maybe it's mixed in your spare change right now. So before you spend another penny, take a moment to look closely. That little P under the date could be your golden ticket. But wait, don't go anywhere, because while the 2017 P penny has already made history, the next coin in our story takes the mystery and rarity to a whole new level. It's a coin that came from the same year, but from a completely different mint. A coin that collectors say might even eclipse the fame of the 2017 P. So stay tuned, because the story is just getting started. As you'll soon see, if you thought the Philadelphia Mint version was rare, the next one, struck miles away, with a twist of its own, is even more unbelievable.